Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem, of my Blitz game number 451. I started with d4, and we get a Nimzo-Indian defense, and one that I am pretty familiar with. So it's kind of funny, I went astray fairly early on with a bad plan, but well, let's take a look at it. This is just the absolute normal moves. I play e3, the Rubinstein variation, and c5 is one of the main responses here. I develop my knight. You can bring the bishop out as well, bishop d3 or knight to e2, but I like this knight f3 setup. He goes b6 here. Bit of an unusual move in this particular case. In this exact position, castling is more common, but this idea in general of fianchettoing this bishop is also common in the Nimzo-Indian, getting some more pressure, and it fits with the Nimzo-Indian strategy of trying to control the e4 square. So that square is going to, and he's going to figure in my plans. So he waited till I castled and he took the knight off right away, although it's actually normal to castle here, but this is not a bad way to play, actually. He's gotten rid of this knight, which is one of the pieces that defends the e4 square, so he's got a pretty good clamp on it, and I go to a lot of trouble here. Well, he plays d5 right here, which is actually yet another piece on e4 if you look at it that way. He's got the queen, he's got the bishop, the pawn, and the knight all pointing to that square. So he's got a pretty serious clamp on it. But I still think about the main plan, which is to play e4 and liberate this bishop. It looks like here I should have gone with a different plan. Well, not right here, but say after takes, I went ahead and took. In this position, maybe I should give up on this e4 push and do something, either pushing with c5 or exchanging d takes c5. Pushing with c4 or d takes c5 might be a better way to play, because I waste a lot of time trying to get in the e4 push, and when I finally do, it backfires on me. So you have to pay attention to what your opponent is doing and not just play the same moves that you normally play or follow your routine. So this would be a time for going with a different plan. So for example, if I were to take this pawn, he takes back, and it looks like I've created an isolated pawn for myself, but these pawns are a bit weak, and the d pawn in particular might come under fire. So let's see, queen b3, I kind of like this idea. It's not there right now, but it was there a minute ago. Anyway, this is hitting the bishop and indirectly looking at an angle at this pawn. It is running into a fork here, but I can grab his bishop and hit the rook. So queen c7 defending, and then what do I play here? Oh, rook b1, intensifying the pressure on the bishop. I still wonder if he can get this move c4 in at some point. Bishop to c6, and now I have to play c4. So it looks like I can bust up the center this way and have a decent position. Looks like c4 eventually is forced in that line, so maybe it would be better to play it right away. Anyway, I went with this other plan of trying to force through the move e4, and I finally do succeed. Takes a lot of maneuvering, but I do finally succeed in getting the e4 push in. You'll see I'm lining up all my pieces. I got the queen, the bishop, the rook, and now I'm going to bring the knight over next. He goes knight bd7, I go knight d2, and finally I have enough force. He brings rook e8 to try and slow it down, but I do have enough force to push in e4, but I'm failing to take into account other features of the position. And what happens immediately after I play e4 is he actually opens up the c file and gets some counterattacking chances along the c file, and I didn't really think about this idea at all. So anyway, a new concept for me. And so anyway, he takes he doesn't take the e pawn, but he takes on d4, and now when I take back, he can bring this rook over to harass my queen. And now I stay on this line because I want to support this pawn, but already I'm just losing a pawn here. I can't actually defend it anymore, because what he has at the end of all the exchanges, he has the move rook takes c1 check, deflecting my queen. So we'll see that. Knight takes, he takes back, I take, he takes, and I take. And this is the exact point where he could play rook takes c1 check and just win the game, because it wins a whole piece. I have to take, and then this rook is hanging here. So it's a good example of why you can't just count. I was just counting all of the attackers. I have 4 pieces attacking the pawn, and he has 3 pieces defending it, in this position rather. He has the bishop, the knight, and the rook all defending the pawn, and I have a bishop, knight, and rook attacking it, plus the queen. But at the end, the queen can get deflected by this rook c1 move. So a miscalculation on my part. Anyway, we get to this position, and funny enough, he doesn't play rook takes c1. He plays knight to f6. So he was playing all these moves at lightning speed, and this kind of saved me for the moment. But I was a little bit disconcerted here. I take, queen takes, and I can probably hold this. Looks like bishop e3 is okay. But it's a difficult. He's got pressure. He gets this good move, knight d5, and it's my pawns are weak, and this bishop is not a good piece. So it's just hard for me to hold this position. And also, well, I was somewhat disconcerted by the tactic that I missed, and also by the fact that my opponent was moving so fast. I mean, that's the other thing I need to do, is work on how to handle it when my opponent is moving so fast. I mean, in a way, I have less time to think. My opponent is going so quickly. I don't get any of the time I normally have while my opponent is thinking. I'm normally thinking as well, and I've lost that half of my thought process, I guess, the part that I normally do while my opponent is thinking. So I need to find a way to compensate for that in these cases. But anyway, I play queen d3. The engine is suggesting queen b3 is maybe a slightly tougher defense, although I think it runs into similar problems because he can bring his rook to c3 defended by the knight. I guess if I were on b3, the thing is, from b3 I can hold on to things a little better. Let's check this out. Say the rook comes here anyway. Queen takes. Oh, I'm hitting the knight. That's why queen b3 is better. It's not just about defending the bishop. It's also about counterattack. So yeah, it's interesting. So that's the way to hold on. So queen d3 I played. He comes in with his rook. Good move. Harassing my queen. And I can try and hold on with queen d2. It's another one of these kind of tricky moves. If he takes the bishop with his knight, which is what I was expecting, it leaves his rook hanging, so keeping pressure on the rook. Instead, I went for the counterattack, and this is not as good. And in fact, my next move here loses. I need to be careful how I take back the pawn. I was thinking with this queen, I could come in here and maybe check him on the back rank if his queen comes forward. So I wasn't too worried about taking and having the queen come forward. But the queen comes forward with check, and it's a very awkward check that I have no way of meeting. So my only way to survive here for a little bit longer is to play rook e1, pinning the knight and trying to recapture it under better circumstances. Anyway, I took this way, and queen e3. Okay, I'm in check, and there's only 2 moves. And if I go to the right, then it looks like I'm getting mated on the back rank, although there is a defense here, kind of. I mean, it's still losing. But rook here, check. Instead of taking, I can bring the queen in. This is kind of a clever idea. The rook and my rook and queen support each other on the back rank, even through my opponent's rook. But so this avoids the mate, but it gives up the queen, so that would certainly be losing. So I went in the other direction. I went to f1. But now he has this very nice move, rook c2, taking the second rank here and setting up 2 different mating threats. The queen can mate directly on on f2, or the queen can come to e2, check, and then when the king runs to g1, the queen goes to g2 and mates that way. So there's 2 different mate threats, and I can't cover both these squares. I can bring the rook over and cover one of them, but then I fall victim to the other. So there's no way of escaping the mate. Queen c8 check just deflects the rook but gives up the queen, so that's losing as well. So I resigned at this point. Anyway, a short game, but well, a few instructive moments. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon.